that lets you save. Who cares?
True Form Life.
Once you take care of yourself and you have more energy and you can sleep and you are learning all the ways, it's amazing about that cascade effect and how much it is positivity everywhere else in your life.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Tadia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Tadia.
Welcome to another edition of Nationally Syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. We're coming at you with a brand new show. We appreciate whether you're listening on terrestrial radio across the country or as a podcast around the world. We certainly wouldn't be here without you. So stick around. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Tadia.
Welcome to another edition of Nationally Syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. We're super excited to welcome a brand new guest. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Amy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Drew. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, it's our pleasure. We got lots to jump into. Why don't we give our audience a chance to resonate a bit? Tell us about who you are and what you do.
Well, like I say, I'm a triple threat. I go by the nutrition coach pharmacist. I am a board certified geriatric pharmacist, a certified nutrition coach, and a fitness professional. I've been in the fitness industry since the 80s, so I'm going to date myself big time. So I like to put it all together. It's, I say I'm a pharmacist who doesn't want you on medication. And I would prefer that we're not putting money into big pharma, that we're doing prevention, which we just don't do very well in the United States. And I guess probably Canada too I think Canada's better than we are, but I still think that we can do a lot more on prevention with the nutrition and the fitness side so that you are not on the medication side.
So tell me, it's an interesting combination, isn't it?
Yeah, I like to say it's a combination.
So tell me about, why pharmacy, why a pharmacist, and then fitness and nutrition?
Well, I had always been in sports and dance and went to college, and I was bound and determined not to gain the freshman 15. I started teaching aerobics of all things. While going through pharmacy school at University of Toledo. And unfortunately, that started a kind of a bad addiction to exercise. And yes, you can be an exercise addict. I was addicted to endorphins, and it came to a head when I was 29 and pretty much busted my back. And you would think that would have cured me, but it didn't. I had surgery and I was right back out trying to out-train a bad diet. And this was the 80s and the 90s. We were very low fat. Everything was low fat, fat-free, and we didn't know much about nutrition. We've come a long way in the last 5 or 6 years. I would go through different nutrition modalities just as a pharmacist and a fitness aerobics instructor, because people come to you. People come to you as a pharmacist. People come to you as a aerobics instructor, say, how can I lose weight? And then as a pharmacist, can I take XYZ? I saw this on Oprah. I saw this on Dr. Oz. And I had to do more research for me. If I'm going to give advice, if I'm going to give my opinion, I need more research. I got certified in a lot of different fitness, a lot of different nutrition, but nothing really worked. It worked for a hot minute and then it stopped because we're still in the calories in versus calories out. Fast forward, got into macro tracking, got into weightlifting, and it's a game changer, especially when you're in midlife and when you're going through menopause. Things have to change. You can't do those quick fix diets anymore. You can't rely on the latest supplement, the latest, thing that's shiny objects like, oh, this is going to cause me to lose 20 pounds in 20 days. It doesn't work. It works for a 2-second window, and then it brings back the weight and comes on even more. And as a female, that's frustrating because we like hook, line, and sinker bought everything that the media has sold to us over the years. And then we feel like a failure because it doesn't work for us. So I knew there had to be a better way. And I knew that I could help people. And when I found a program that worked for me as a client, I was like, you know what? I need to coach this now because there's people like me as a fitness professional who are trying to figure out what to do. And there's people like me as a midlife woman who are trying to figure out what to do. And there is magic that can happen when we quit dieting.
Yeah, I like that. Quit dieting. Tell me more about
a lot of our women, or a lot of our listeners are women in a menopausal area. Tell us more about the struggles that you understand from them.
So what we've done since we were 15 probably is we've been on a diet. And unfortunately, that has caught up with us. All those diets that we went on, every single time that we lost weight, no matter what anybody said, we didn't lose body fat. You might have lost a little bit, but more than likely you lost muscle. Every single time we did that, that not only messed with our hormones, but it also slowed our metabolism down. Now comes our 40s. Perimenopause and menopause, we start losing estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, and we slow down our metabolism even more. But it's because of what we did to ourselves in our younger years that it's caught up with us so much. And we have to put the brakes on and understand that dieting's not the answer, because we keep going back to that. We're like, but I did this diet and I got into my skinny jeans. For how long? I'm going to ask, how long did you get in those skinny jeans? But we remember that skinny jeans, but we forget about what happened after those skinny jeans, because we want to believe so hard that that diet should have worked, that it was our fault that it didn't work. Well, the thing is, you weren't given the right tools. And now when you're in perimenopause and menopause and the hormones are changing, you got to change the tools. You got to pivot. And what that is that you now have to stop starving yourself. You now need to eat. You need to focus on protein, and you need to start lifting weights and moving your body. It doesn't mean doing cardio 20 hours every day. Or I would say, doing 3 classes and going on the Stairmaster. Those days are over. You need to be smart about what you are doing now. You need to be smart and think about building muscle and keeping muscle, because that is our fountain of youth.
Yeah, that's fantastic information. We're dealing with the exact same thing. Like, you're speaking exactly to our audience, which is amazing. And here's the thing. A lot of women come to us coming from those yo-yo diets. And I think, like, I was listening to this conversation of these individuals, and they're talking about how our memories are always better than what actually happened, right? So it's interesting how you put that into context for weight loss. It's like, that program was great, but then when I stopped doing it, it stopped working. And I say, well, then it didn't work, right? Because we teach a lifestyle as well, and understanding that you don't need to diet to see the results you're looking for. You just need to do some of the things that you're explaining here now.
But, emotion is a memory is tied to emotion. And when you got into those skinny jeans, or you got into that dress, all those endorphins are released. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is it. But you forget about what happens afterwards. You forget about the struggle bus afterwards. And you think that you did something wrong. Well, you didn't do anything wrong. You either didn't learn the tools, or there were no tools to be learned, or you were starving yourself and there was just no way you were going to be able to sustain it. If you can't sustain a lifestyle, we got to quit dieting, because dieting's not a lifestyle that you can do day out and day in. You can't starve your body and expect to have your body be good to you. It doesn't work that way. Our body is one big chemical process. We can either fuel it with the right stuff and prevent disease and burn body fat and increase muscle, or we can fuel it with the wrong things. And now we are promoting disease. We are now causing certain DNA to be expressed that we don't want to. And we're looking at diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, metabolic syndrome, all of those things that come with, I would say, ultra processed foods and poor nutrition. We don't want that.
Right. And I think it's important to understand that if that's what you're doing to see the short-term results, it didn't work. Right. Yeah. We teach, sounds like we're on the same page, sustainable lifestyle changes. But a lot of times people say, well, I went on keto, or I went on fasting, whatever it is, and it worked. And then they gained it all back. And I say, then it didn't work. What do you mean? Yeah. Like, I just have to go back on it. But that's what it's for. It's not for your rest of your life. Right.
Right. And I totally get it, because, here I was a nutrition coach for other things, and nothing was working for me in perimenopause, and my hips were getting bigger, and I was what I call Buddha, because I was getting this pouch in my stomach, and I naturally have a 6-pack. And I was like, what is going on? And I wanted to believe every shiny object. I wanted to believe in keto so bad. And I wanted to believe in this other program and these shakes, and nothing worked, and got frustrating. And it wasn't until I started looking at nutrition. It wasn't until I started building muscle and got out of that diet mentality, which is, by the way, once you get out of that diet mentality, it's like a whole weight just gets lifted off of you. When you stop worrying about so much about calories and the skinniness, because I will tell you, skinny does not equal healthy. at all. We think it does. And that's why we're having this whole thing with Ozempic and Wegovy, but it does not equal health. And I will tell you, if you're going for skinny, you're going to end up in one of my nursing homes.
Yeah, this is great. Okay, so tell me more about your philosophy around nutrition.
So my philosophy on nutrition, so I coach a program that's called Fast Way to Fat Loss, and it's all about macronutrients and getting a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of carbohydrates, and a certain amount of fat. But it's also whole food nutrition. It's not coming from shakes or the latest fuel packets or any of those kind of things. It's getting it from real food. So my philosophy is, let's get it from real food. There's things called processed food and there's things called ultra processed food. Processed foods like frozen broccoli, maybe boar's head, turkey meat, or something like that. What I want people to understand is that ultra processed food is feeding disease, and it's also causing you to gain weight. And dieting and not eating enough is causing you to gain weight. So there is this nice little sweet spot where you do need nutrition, that you need a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of fat, a certain amount of carbohydrates that has to come from real food, not something from a package that has added colors and sugars and chemicals, because your body does not know how to process that. And it actually doesn't do your body any good because it hurts your gut microbiome. It causes inflammation. It causes certain diseases. And people think it's hard to eat real food because honestly, media companies have made it hard to eat real food. But once you start getting back into it, it's really not that difficult. You just have to jump in and start maybe just with one meal a day. And then that meal becomes 2 meals and then 3 meals. And before you know it, 90% of your food is coming from real food ingredients.
Yeah, it's really the education piece, right? Like, I feel like we've gotten so far away from, I don't know what you call it, normal living.
Normal, yeah.
Like what our grandparents probably grew up with is how we should probably live. And we've gotten so far away from the potions, pills, powders. Like now we live in that world of if it doesn't work within 3 or 4 days, then the program doesn't work. It's not me.
I call it Amazon Prime thinking, because if you don't get it in 2 days, well, it didn't work. And I have this conversation, I don't know, you probably do with your clients too, is that, but it's been a week and I don't see any difference yet. And I tell my clients, it's like, okay, how many years have you dieted? How many years have you abused your body mentally and physically? It's not an overnight process. What we've been doing to our body, the food that we've been putting in our body causes inflammation. It takes a while to heal. And to heal from the inside out, you don't see all the stuff that's going on the inside. You don't see the visceral fat going away. You don't see the inflammation dissolving. You don't see what's going on in the healthy inside. You expect everything to show up with a snap of fingers on the outside. But the outside will catch up. It just takes time. And you have to realize that when you start doing it for health, when you start doing it for strength, when you start doing it for longevity, and that's your reason and not for skinny, that's the dialogue that changes in your head. Instead of worrying about, oh, well, do I have flat abs yet? Or is my butt lifted? That will come, but you have to focus on the real reason behind the motivation, which needs to be the health, nutrition, and the strength aspect.
Yeah, I have the exact same conversation with my clients as short term, where are my results? And then I say, how long has it been since? And it's been like 30, 40 years. And I'm like, so you expect change in a couple of days or a couple of weeks? It's kind of crazy.
It's because of all those quick fixes that we were on. When in our teen year, we could drop 5 pounds overnight by starving ourselves. And we expect that same thing now using nutrition. But it's a journey. And I always tell my clients, like, the day one that you start with me is day one. And that's your nutrition journey. And it's not going to end until you take your final breath on this earth. And that's the way it should be. And don't expect results to be very fast. Building muscle takes time. Getting your body from being a sugar burner to a fat burner takes time. When you lost quick weight before, you lost muscle. That was your metabolism. That was your fountain of youth. You don't want to do that anymore. You're now in the muscle building business. And that's a slow journey. And that's okay. That's a slow journey.
So tell me this, because I get this all the time. I want to hear your answer. I've tried everything and nothing works.
You haven't tried me yet.
I like that.
Because what we tried is we tried every diet out there, but you haven't tried nutrition and you haven't tried actually working out where you're lifting and building muscle. You've tried every diet out there. You tried every quick fix out there. And you've tried everything to lose weight extremely fast and to be skinny. Let's have a different conversation. Where do you want to be with your future self in 20 years, 30 years? Do you want to be healthy on a beach, retired, living the best life? Or do you want to be in one of my nursing homes just staring off at space? And I can guarantee 100% of people are going to say, no, I want the life on the beach. Okay, so why are you training to be the person in the nursing home? Because that's what you're doing every single time that you're trying to do these quick fix diets.
Tell me about, are you still practicing as a pharmacist?
Yeah, I still am. I still practice full-time in the nursing homes, yes.
Okay, so I'm having a hard time connecting the two. Help me out.
For nutrition So I do nutrition full-time and I do pharmacy full-time, yes.
So you're teaching nutrition and then you teach people, you're doing workout programs and then you're also in the nursing homes.
Yep.
Like prescribing medication.
So I don't prescribe because I'm a pharmacist. What I do in the United States, we have something that's called CMS that oversees Medicaid and Medicare. The rules in nursing homes is that a pharmacist must see or review a chart every month for the resident that's in the facility. So that's what I do is I go in and I review charts. I see the amount of medication somebody's on, if there's drug interactions, make sure there's labs being checked for certain medications with something called polypharmacy. Can we get people off certain medications? And that's what I do 8 hours a day. And then I start early. I end in the afternoon. And then the rest of the afternoon is spent usually answering questions with my clients. And then I teach fitness classes a couple nights a week too.
Okay.
So triple threat.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so tell me about your philosophy. We talked about nutrition. Tell me about fitness.
So I am, like I said, I was somebody who was cardio bunny and tried to out train a bad diet, which got me into blowing a back and having back surgery. And yeah, I still did that. I still did that in my 40s and everything because, it's one of those things like, got to move more, eat less. That's what you hear. Got to move more, eat less. It doesn't work. And what happens is that we work out so much. We do so much cardio. We think that it has to be at least an hour, if not 2 hours a day. Well, when you're under fueling yourself and you're overworking out, okay, cortisol goes up. You screw up your ghrelin and leptin, which are gut hormones. So what I was doing by working out too much was actually getting bigger, which is crazy. I was, you're thinking like, wait a minute, you should be getting smaller. No, I was actually getting bigger. I was putting on fat. So my philosophy in working out is let's work out smart. You don't have to work out for hours a day. You can do 30 minutes of a really good workout. And then the rest of the time is neat, non-exercise activity of thermogenesis, which is just moving your body. It can be toe tapping or having a standing desk or going for a walk, but it's not, I would say balls to the wall or cray cray. It's not having to do that for hours and hours every day. It's 30 minutes of a workout, 30 minutes, can do HIIT twice a week, lifting, active recovery, and then just keep your body moving because our bodies are meant to move. Our biggest probably issue right now, because we say it's close to being smoking, is sedentary. Being sedentary is just as bad as smoking as what we're finding out now.
Yeah, this is fantastic because I say what you're saying quite often, but I don't hear it very often. So sometimes I'm repeating or saying what I believe, where we've seen our results from with our clients. But sometimes, we see great results, but the whole world I feel like they lost their minds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so sometimes I'm like, there's something wrong with me.
I think there's I always say it's grassroots. It's like eventually somebody's going to start listening. Eventually people are going to say, you know what? Enough of the diet industry, enough of the medication, enough of the injections. I'm going to do this. And I think there's a small community of us who are trying to be extremely loud. And eventually I feel like it's going to be the mainstream.
So yeah, I feel like it's going that way too with movement and mobility. Being more at the forefront of health in general. But this one here in particular is cardio. That one's a hard one for me to get across to women in particular, because it's like they're programmed to cardio. And then so we get them on a resistance training program, seeing results, but still in their mind, it's like, but I got to do more cardio.
It's because everything we've been told. And what I had to tell myself when I started changing my habits, what I had to tell my clients, if what was working, you wouldn't be here. And I had to keep telling myself that because we were told in Glamour and Cosmo and all these magazines and all these commercials that it's cardio. You know, if you think about when the elliptical came out, oh my gosh, the elliptical was going to save us all because it was going to make us skinny. And we have to understand that media's out there to make us do certain things. Doesn't mean it's always right. And if it wasn't working, you wouldn't be here. So get off the cardio train. Yes. Can you go for a walk? Absolutely. Can you move your body? Absolutely. But you don't have to do cray-cray. You don't have to go for 5 miles of a run every single day. You don't have to do hours on the Stairmaster or the elliptical. You don't have to take 3 Zumba classes and another step class and a kickboxing class. All of that is actually wear and tear on your body. You're actually increasing your cortisol levels. If you're not eating, then we're talking about holding on to body fat and using muscle for fuel. And remember, we just talked about that's not the thing that we want. We want to build muscle. And so you have to fuel your body and you have to build and you just have to move. You don't have to go to the extremes, which is sometimes we think that we have to do in order to get to the next level.
Yeah. And that's something we hear often with those that try our fitness program, and we do ours online. So we get them set up on the fitness program and they're like, oh, I thought that was going to be way harder. And at first I was like offended, like, oh, my workouts aren't challenging enough. But then I understand that people think to get results, they either doing burpees, deadlifts, or they're doing cardio. So they're hanging their head over hard enough. So they're hanging their head over the garbage can for the next 20 minutes, trying to pull themselves back together. And I'm like, that's not the way to go. That's not what you need.
No, in my program, we have 30-minute workouts too. And it's like, we don't need to beat our bodies up. You know, I used to say, if you're not leaving it on the floor, you didn't work hard enough. You know, all those things that we used to say are so wrong. Yeah. Can you work out hard once, twice a week? Absolutely. Do you need to do it for hours? No. And you don't need to do it every single day. So if you're going to these boot camps, if you're going to these boutiques, I understand you're like, but I want to get my money's worth. Okay. But you're not doing your bodies any favor by working that hard every single day.
Tell me about, do you work with goals at all with your clients?
Yeah. So I like non-scale victories is what I'm working with, because meaning that I don't want a goal being the scale number. A good example is I've had we do an initial 6 weeks, and I've had clients who lost absolutely no weight, but have lost 20 plus inches. And somebody's like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't lose a pound. But I'm like, you lost 2 dress sizes. Yeah, but I didn't lose a pound. Okay, so we have to change that. It's a lot of behavior goals. It's looking at, how do I feel? How are you sleeping? How does your pants fit? Are you able to zip up something? You know, for females, are you getting rid of the bra fat? Are you getting rid of other areas that maybe you haven't been able to pick up your grandkids because you haven't been able to bend over? So we're definitely working on goals. I like to do other goals besides the scale. The scale is the absolute last thing that we will do for a goal.
Yeah, that's great. So, okay, one of the things that you mentioned is, do you want to have the beach future or the nursing home future?
Yeah.
I like to try to help our clients picture the direction they want to go. But sometimes it's challenging because I feel like so many people don't look to the future. They're not like, this is what I want to envision. It's usually like that short term, what you're saying, like, I want to lose 10 or 15 pounds. Like, okay, what does that look like? But I guess what I'm getting at here is I have challenges with trying to get our clients to look to the future and envision what their picture looks like. Do you have any words to share around that?
I do. So what I always say is, people always ask you, well, what would you tell your younger self? And I'm like, younger self, been there, done that, thought she knew everything, and obviously didn't because she blew her back out. What I tell my clients is that I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to look at your future self. I want you to look at the lady who's staring back at you in 20 years. Is she looking at you and going, girlfriend, thank you. Thank you for everything that you are doing right now because you're setting me up for an amazing future? Or is she saying, why? What if? What if we could have done this? And nobody wants to do those what ifs. And what you want to look at is that future self and say, okay, what am I doing today that's going to help me tomorrow? And that has helped a lot of my clients to think about their future self and understand that it's not this 2 days, it's 20 years, it's 25 years. And when you start thinking about what you're doing for your future self, it puts it in a whole different perspective.
Okay, so let's say, I like to say your actions or inactions will take you closer or further away from your goal or vision.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Give me one or two things that would take our listeners closer to the beach vision and further away from the nursing home.
Nursing home?
Yeah.
So I would say quit dieting and get rid of the ultra processed foods. So that's kind of like putting the one thing. So ultra processed foods, dieting, get your protein. We need protein. And as females, we have done a horrible job because we listen to people that we probably shouldn't be listening to. Oh, you don't need that. You don't need that. You need protein. Our bodies don't absorb as much protein as we get older. We need protein to build muscle. You need protein. You need protein.
So what do you think? We are running out of time here, but I got a couple more questions. What do you think is the biggest challenge when it comes to women at this age group? And I'll give you a quick vision of what I see is usually lack of nutrients, lack of calories, jamming all their food to later in the day, and then snacking or craving on top of that in the pantry 9, 10 o'clock at night, and then can't sleep. Give me an idea of what you see and what they can do about it.
I think it's that all comes down to blood sugar stabilization. The fact that you're not eating during the week and you're binging on the weekends is because you're not eating enough during the week. If you're relying on alcohol to bring you down or to relax, alcohol is not doing your body any good at this age. In fact, it's probably causing more hot flashes. It's causing you to retain fat. It's not doing you any favors. The other thing is just thinking you don't have time and thinking you have to do it by yourself. There's so many people out there. There's Drew, there's myself. You can get help and invest in yourself, and that's not being selfish. If you are not able to take care of you, you can't take care of others. And so once you take care of yourself and you have more energy and you can sleep and you are learning all the ways, it's amazing about that cascade effect and how much it is positivity everywhere else in your life.
Yeah, and that's a tough one for women. Like as nurturers, everyone's first, always putting yourself last. But there comes to a point where you have the inability to do anything like mobility or thinking or doing the day-to-day activities that you're usually doing for other people. You're not able to do for yourself or them. So if you start taking care of yourself, you have more to offer other people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Amy, it is time to wrap things up. Is there anything that we missed that you wanted to mention?
Oh, I mean, we could go on forever, but I think we had a really good conversation and we covered a lot of topics.
Awesome. So if our listeners want to get a hold of you, learn more about you, more information about who you are, what you do, where do they go?
I will give you a free 5-day fat loss blueprint for listening this far. And all you have to do is mention, just say Drew, and I'll know exactly what you're talking about. You can get me on my website, www.amykwilson.com. That's www.amykwilson.com. And if you are an Instagrammer, I am at The Nutrition Coach Pharmacist. That's The Nutrition Coach Pharmacist. Just tell me you heard me on this podcast, and I would love to send you that blueprint. It's great recipes. It has 2 of my favorite recipes in there, one being a chili that's just like Wendy's, but it's healthy. And you will find that sometimes you just need a couple recipes to get you going to get in the right direction.
Awesome. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Amy. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. You can always find us on Facebook.com/TrueFormLife. We post up there a couple times a day on our story. We're always trying to bring you more content around living a healthy lifestyle, whether that be nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. We also have free challenges that we do at least once a month. So if you follow us along there, you'll be able to join maybe a plank challenge or a squat challenge, Tabata challenge, whatever it may be. We'd love to have you join us. We're also on Instagram.com/DrewTadia. Again, we're posting up there a couple times a day along with our story, all dedicated to keeping you fit and healthy and on track. Our main website is trueformlife.com. If you want to check out some of our products, some of our services, or if you just want some great content from videos to blog posts and recipes and more, we got all that at trueformlife.com. Once again, thank you so much for being here. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Tadia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Tadia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.